Hello and welcome back, all you fine folks out there in Dota TV world and Dota world and everywhere else in the world.
Dota TV world and Dota world.
I mean, we're not casting yet on the channel, but
is it a wonderful Dota TV world?
It's not in Dota world at least, but we got some wonderful people here on the couch with us.
Hey.
Nice.
On the couch,
You brought it
excuse
back.
me?
Yeah,
I
got-
told you were going to get
You're out.
downgraded. Did you not hear that conversation?
I've got snydereN, and then I'm not doing it. We got Draskyl and Maut here with us as well. We're just keeping it cool.
And the spectacular Gabe.
Yes. And then me as well, Gets for Gabe. Quick little note that after this series, we're going to have a 30-minute break for the winner before they place off against OG in the winner's bracket matchup. They're going to need some time to think about things because OG look ridiculously good. But after that last game, how you guys feeling about both of these teams?
I still kind of stick to what I said before. I think that BlinkPool are going to come into this slightly favored. And I think that even though I felt personally BlinkPool outdrafted them in game one, snydereN and I both agreed that they could definitely still win even being outdrafted. But itemization mistakes, you know, how they played the game, stuff like that. It's all super complicated because Dota is such an intricate game that even if you have worse heroes, you can win if you hit the timings correctly and you get the right items. But it just didn't happen to him in that game. So see what happens in game two.
I think for BlinkPool too, they're coming in on a hot streak. They've won, I think, 5 games in a row. They lost the first 2 games they played in this qualifier on their first day. One of them was to OG. I think the other was to Kingwin, or no, it was Singularity, I believe. And then they came back in. Now they've won 5 in a row after yesterday's 4 wins. Now today 1 win. They're looking really strong. Misery's making some good calls in the draft. They have some really good drafts. The last draft looked really good against that Radiant team that they played against Wind and Rain. They're looking really strong right now.
I think the one thing, Andy and I were talking about this after the game, I think you can actually fault Wind and Rain for not banning Nyx in that position. It's a classic counter pick to the Leshrac as a core. It's only been, there's this thing with memory in Dota. If there's a hero from 1 year ago that's suddenly good again, people need a bit of time to rediscover the counters. But this Leshrac core was good literally a month ago or 2 months ago, and people were picking Nyx into it. You have that, and you have a Skywrath, and you get into the last phase, and you have to ban a hero where you are expecting it to probably be Misery's pick, because they have a Magnus and they have a Windranger already picked for Soxa. So you could have definitely banned out that Nyx, and I think we have a totally different game on our hands. I think that was the most important hero of the whole game.
Yeah.
He scouted for them, he got bounty runes, he countered the Leshrac in 1 or 2 fights, he messed with the Skywrath too, and even though Misery didn't play a perfect game, he just did so much with so little. It's like game impact relative to gold was ridiculous in that game for the hero. So I think Wind and Rain can definitely bounce back in this, but it was a good first showing in the players from BlinkPool for sure.
And now we see the draft getting unfolding right before our eyes. It's going to be the Clockwork, the Wind Ranger bands out, Io, and the Winter Wyvern. The change up this time around, BlinkPool are going to be Radiant, and Wind and Rain will have first pick with Dire. So we'll see if the Mag, the Ember, the PL, what all is going to go down. You know, the more and more that I've been seeing, like the Spectre versus PL matchup, I feel like that talent kind of just changes the game. And I'm wondering if it's the point where if like you don't want to pick it, do you even think about a first phase ban for PL?
This time around, Wind and Rain are first pick, so I don't think they necessarily need to worry that much.
We talked about it too during the break. Is like I feel if you have Ember, then PL is not as big of a deal. But the argument was you can't open Sky Ember because it's both hard countered by the same hero that obviously BlinkPool played in the last game. But
They could first phase.
It is very, very difficult to pick them together. But you can pick Ember and something else.
Yep.
And then you don't have to look at PL and say, oh God, what do we do?
Yeah.
That exact phase is actually the reason OG had such a long game against Kingwin in the groups, because OG went Skywrath, Ember, and got counterpicked by Nyx in the first phase.
Yeah.
Oh, they let through the Chen though.
Yep.
This hero seems still really strong. Penitence, the creep, the Harpy Stormcrafter in the first or the second game of that OG series did actually so much work. Just there's so many good creeps right now. The Satyr for the health regen, the Shockwave as well. Like Chen's in a really good spot for sure. He's a very good first pick.
You pick the Mud Golems and you get like potentially 4 of those little hurl boulders.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Golems are really crazy against specific lanes. Okay. This is something Complexity did yesterday, actually. I'm very curious to see if BlinkPool do this. So this has not been run for a very long time, but yesterday Z-Freak played support Mirana position 4 for Complexity against a Chen, and he ruined MSS that game, like completely. Chen was level 5 minute 15, I think.
Wow,
and
that's
Mirana
pretty
was
bad.
level 7. And that's a low level for Mirana, but you destroy this early game pick completely, you take him out of the game, And I think there's one big reason that this is able to come back now is when you play these dual lanes, and Chen's biggest contribution is that creep. When you can just destroy that with Mirana, even if you get less out of the jungle than you used to, the support Mirana that was being run was great because you could kill camps and get a lot of experience on your downtime. It doesn't actually matter that much that you're slow if Chen is as well. You slow down him, you take out that win condition from the enemy early laning stage, and all of a sudden you have yourself a great game.
I really like to see this Morphling picked up. I think this is a hero that hasn't maybe been explored enough still. Like, we're starting to see some teams really run it in the mid lane on occasion, and it feels like it, to me, is a lane dominator almost now as well.
It can be, yeah.
Given the matchup, he can definitely crush it. I like they're protecting the Morph, they ban appeal, very obvious stuff. I think that hero has been consistently showing that it just wins games. Like, every single time I see a PL, it's like, oh, I think that team's just going to win, and they do. So, really happy to see it taken out here.
Like, I think a lot of the time picking Morphling this early is not necessarily that good, but you have Chen. So, you can expect to protect the Morphling in lane unless this Mirana plays really, really well, which could happen. So, I'm a bit unsure about this. Like, a lot of the time these safe lane Morphlings do very well. If they get an advantage, they can just roll with it because they have 30 more damage than the enemy offlaner. By just going a lot of agility when they're level 3. But against this, if it is Chen playing in that lane and Mirana gets to counter jungle, I'm not completely sure how big of an advantage Morphling's actually able to gain over a hero like Beastmaster in the lane.
Yeah.
Like, if this lane is played in isolation, I think Beastmaster wins the lane, actually, early on. So.
One of the other answers that we've been seeing to the Morphling has often been a lot of burst damage. I think we've seen sometimes like the Zeus as well played in the mid lane, and suddenly you expect that you're at a certain level of HP, you're going to be fine, and then you get blown up.
And it's like you have the Undying, like they had that Undying Zeus game. I think it was against Alliance where he was like sitting on 300 HP, he gets decayed a few times, then lightning bolted, and that's in an arc laning, he just dies immediately, and you kind of don't expect it sometimes. But
it is like a misplay, but it still is something to be wary of.
Yeah.
And with Aurora online, if they have any type of burst damage, could blow them up in the early game.
Something important to keep in mind as well about this game is that this is one of the heroes OG likes to open the Chen. And if teams are starting to discover a counter to that, if this Mirana works out well, this is going to maybe have implications on the next series coming up after this one, where OG will be playing against the winner of this. So if BlinkPool do end up 2-0ing this, and OG have first pick, we could see this exact exchange again. And you might even see OG considering banning Mirana as first pick, just to protect their Chen, if it goes as well as I think it could. We'll see how that carries over later.
Well, we still don't know where she's going to go yet. There's still a lot in this draft, although I would like to see that, but...
I think it's much more likely that it will be a 4 because they picked it with Beastmaster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure, Mirana has a lot of favorable matchups in the mid and the safe lane, but it just feels like there's a lot of time to adapt to the hero, and the flexibility of Mirana allows them to just change it whenever they want. They don't have to commit one way or the other.
Have we even seen that much Mirana in this particular region? I don't think so.
Not as much.
It's been like Ember Spirit, PL.
It's more of a NA thing, I believe, right now.
China did it a lot too. They
In
actually
China,
were
yeah.
occasionally running safe lane Mirana to deal with the Chen, which was a little bit strange, but it worked in the same way that you kind of talked about with just arrowing the creeps. So that's 2 pretty good answers.
Yep.
And I think that this actually makes it more viable to run it also as a safe lane if you need to for Mirana, because the cask is an easy setup for killing off the creeps with an arrow. But again, like you're talking about, you can still run it in that 4 and go like Orb of Venom if he wants to also, just harass away with the Beastmaster.
Yeah.
It's true, you can actually aim to put the Mirana core against the lane that Chen plays in.
Yeah.
And then you've already done quite a lot, because Beastmaster can play in all 3 lanes pretty easily, so you can definitely lane swap and put a position 3 Mirana for... Oh, well, it wouldn't be a position 3, it would be a position 1 Mirana for Madara in the side lane. I think Madara really likes the hero, so it could definitely be him. But Kaiser, I believe, also a Mirana fan? They have multiple players that want this hero.
Does Misery play it also?
Yeah, probably.
All right, let's do it.
Me pot him. Spirit.
Oh, nice.
Whoa!
Interesting.
This came out in the first game for Matt. He played it in the off lane. That worked out really well in that game.
And they are doubling down on protecting their morph. They really want to try to cause early game chaos with these 2 heroes. Like, one good charge into a bash and some Chen creeps, nothing lives through that. Like, you fall over, even Beastmaster would probably die to that.
There's nothing in this game specifically that Spirit Breaker is great against except Mirana. but it is a reliable way of either forcing multiple leaps or catching.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And the leap cooldown is really long. Level 1, each charge is 60-second recharge time. 60, 50, 40.
I think it's just nice to have that like guaranteed form of early game initiation. You know, to try to guarantee that your Chen's going to get some effect in the side of the laning phase. Otherwise, you run the risk of the Mirana being like too much of a counter if they end up getting that lane matchup.
Well, the Ember gets taken now. I think Spirit Breaker, another one where if he goes Linken's, I mean, I guess that there isn't a great reason to go Linken's yet.
Ember does not need Linken's
Yeah.
against SB.
Yeah.
SB is not really that good against Ember.
But I was meaning that if they took another hero here that would be like a single target lockdown, then you could potentially just break a Linken's
Yeah,
that comes
maybe.
out. But again, like I don't know what you would really take on Wind and Rain that would be that, since they don't have
Well,
position 5. You
What
can't,
are we
like, go
thinking
Lion,
for SB?
probably.
Or
I mean,
5.
Yeah, it could be 5 as well. It just I don't know if they want to run like some dual aggro lane against the heroes that BlinkPool have with the SB. I don't know what it's really going to do, so I'm leaning more towards just being
You know, it
4 or
does
5.
feel like a Forev hero though.
It
kind of.
It is.
Yeah, it
he
is, yeah.
he definitely does play it. It could be that they do that. I don't know. I feel like Ember shouldn't have got this far. It's really, really good this game. He is an excellent hero against Morphling in the sense that he can move around Morphling's aggressive movements, and Slight Chains is really annoying to deal with for Morphling. Yes, you can morph in it, but it's still a huge nuisance in fights, and once you're in, you can definitely get locked down by Ember. I think Morph will absolutely need a BKB this game.
Yeah.
I would love to see him go for the Chinese carry build that we saw a lot out of Serenity with GGG going for Dragonlance,
Yeah.
Morbid Mask into BKB, because I'm just worried that if he goes for an E-Blade Linken's build, if anything breaks that Linken's, he can just get controlled for the rest of the fight, actually, and have very minimal impact. So definitely would like to see that. They're taking their time here, and they will be grabbing a Nature's...
Wow.
That's a hero you generally like playing Ember against.
Yeah, I also think that Beast and Mirana both are okay matchups against it too.
Yeah. I don't
Witch
know about
Doctor's the
this.
only one who feels kind of whatever, but
I'm liking BlinkPool's draft a lot in this game.
same.
So is this going to be like, I mean, they could run this a lot of different ways now, right? Like, it could conceivably still be Spirit Breaker 3 and then like Nature's Prophet as that 4 or 5. It feels like they have a lot of early game aggression though on Wind and Rain.
Yeah.
How does the Morph Ember matchup go? I feel like Morph does okay in that lane.
Oh, in isolation if it's mid?
Yeah, if it's a 1v1.
I think Morph wins.
Yeah, I think that could possibly be something that Wind and Rain go for here. Maybe they want to put the SB and the Nature's Prophet together, last pick another hero that goes safe lane, that can be protected by the Chen, that maybe is a bit better of a matchup for the lane.
The primary issue I see with Wind and Rain's lineup is that their team fight is extremely lacking. They actually have almost nothing to bring to the table. Their tower push is decent with Chen and Nature's Prophet, so that's good, but they need to be able to force a situation where they get to push towers. Because I think that Radiant can fairly safely defend with this Ember pick into Breaker. That's one guy he just can't really go on most of the time. Some solution needs to come out of this last pick, but I don't really see the perfect pick here. I can't.
Huskar would have been really good. I
It
think
would have
that type
definitely
of
been
hero
good.
is what you need to do and just try and end the game early, in a way.
Quaswix Invoker could be good.
Hey.
Has anyone else shown Invoker except for OG?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure Bryle likes that hero a lot, so
Okay.
I could see it working here. It's great against Ember. It gives them team fight. It gives them a way of engaging. Alacrity and Morphling is exceptionally powerful for taking objectives in Roshan, so I could see that, but I don't know if they're going to get the idea or if they even like to play it. I think OG in this spot would be picking that hero if they Lina. It's another good solution. Great lane matchup against Ember. Very strong. Gives them team fight. Gives them AoE burst, wave clear, a way of killing. When Spirit Breaker connects, this burst combo is going to break down pretty much anyone on the spot except Ember, who Breaker can't really catch. Lina is a natural Euros purchaser. That's great against Ember Flame Guard. It's good against Mirana as well. If you time your combo very well, you can kill Mirana. So I like this too. I think it's another good choice.
5 seconds remaining.
This feels like some caveman Dota to me. Coming out, Forev, going back to his roots.
Running at people is a very good strategy in this patch.
Yep. 2-1-2. You also have the Nature's Prophet 2 to rotate around. The Chen creeps as well. They have a very good run at you lineup for Wind and Rain
The
for sure.
Dire's laning is really strong.
Yeah.
Like they have so many good pieces, but they need to put them correctly because both the Mirana and Witch Doctor, like we said, can solve Chen relatively well. Spirit Breaker doesn't have full free choice of where he wants to go. But I wonder what BlinkPool are thinking here for.
I
Madara
wouldn't
on the
mind
last
TA
pick.
if they want to safe lane the Ember if it's a support Mirana.
TA is good.
Yeah, I like TA. It's really good against Breaker Lina because you can't, even with the charge, it's not going to feel that good. Oh, Medusa. Okay. Interesting. That is a very greedy hero.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
So it is the Misery Marana. So you guys were right on the money at the beginning of this draft.
I feel like there may have been a better choice than this. I can see it working. It gives them. It's good for sieging towers together with the Beastmaster and grouping up. It's a hard hero for the Dire lineup to kill. But at the same time, it doesn't put too much pressure on the map. So this early game laning strength that Wind and Rain have, the Medusa doesn't really punish, or rather, it wouldn't punish. It doesn't sustain as well as maybe other heroes would. It's still a difficult lane to kill, you know, Witch Doctor Medusa, if that's how they put it. It's like Mana Shield and Witch Doctor heal.
Do you think it's maybe that Madara doesn't play Ember? And maybe they just wanted to give them something that gives the late game inevitability factor, I guess?
It's a mid pick for Madara that can go against Lina. That's actually what they're going to do.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But I don't know how good that is. I think Lina wins that lane if she plays well.
Yeah.
But I'm not completely sure about this one, actually, the matchup.
Well,
I think the draft is much closer than the first one.
okay. Mr. Maut, how you feeling?
It's BlinkPool are coming down on such a hot streak. They have I'm very interested to see how this Marana does against this Chen. That's going to be the big thing for me.
Yeah,
And if
me
they
too.
can get it done, it could work out really well in this game.
All right. Well, thank you to our wonderful panel over there on the couch. And we will see you guys back again at the end of this one. But for now, going into game number 2, backs up against the wall. Wind and Rain need this win to stay in the upper side of this bracket as Misery is going to not break a smoke. Oh, they make the way around the okie doke. Sind, how you feeling?
I'm pretty excited for this game. I think these two drafts are really different. And I think there's some very small things that are going to be really big in this game, such as how this mid lane matchup goes just on paper. I'm not completely sure. Even if it's a slight advantage for either, it can make a very big difference just getting minor advantages. When you're playing against a team that has Chen Spirit Breaker, the small early game things can really add up. And then you look across the board and you think about how this Mirana into Chen is going to be a bit of a dance almost in the jungle. And Mirana's impact here is going to be extremely important for the outcome of the game. What he does in the first 3 minutes of Mirana's game are worth following very closely. Has a huge impact.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing to watch for. And of course, with the relative vision R as the wonderful spectator hotkeys. Oh, there we go. We're good to go now. Yeah, so we'll have to watch where they spot him out because it does look like right now they might have clipped the Chen as he was heading up north. Now they should see him. They still don't. But Mirana, having an idea that Chen is going to be up here in the top lane, already placed down the ward, and we'll see what camps are spawning as the courier is going to be sent out. Mirana, that long attack range, could find this one, it looks like.
Oh, this would be such a big start to the game for Misery. Oh, they were thinking about it.
He doesn't quite see it. It's just outside of vision. If he goes down this at all,
He could actually skill leap and kill it, but I think that's not worth it. As crazy as that may sound, I think it's not worth killing the courier for that. Because he needs to hunt down this Chen with the arrow. He's going to throw an arrow from the back. Oh! Bryle had no idea that arrow was coming. He didn't see it the whole time. That's the benefit of the camera angle. Like, when you're playing mid, you're looking at your opponent.
right?
Not behind yourself. And Misery almost landed that one. And that could have... I don't think it would have been a kill, but it would have forced all of Bryle's region out, minimum.
Well, they do not get the courier snipe there. Dara, again, standing toe-to-toe against Bryle. Down bottom lane, it is, in fact, going to be Forev that's playing on the Nature's Prophet, getting more of the farm. And Milan's going to be the one running around the map on the Spirit Breaker, which does make sense, I feel like. It's the type of hero that wants to get involved across the map when opportunities arise. But yeah, this Mirana-Chen matchup does have that arrow, and Kitrak is going to head back now and see if he can find himself. He does find some mud golems.
He's actually... Oh, that's the best possible creep he can get against Mirana. Because if that gets arrowed, it spawns 2 small mud golems.
Yeah, and he's going to take the second one, too, so that he can get 3 rounds of boulders, I think. Yeah, so now he's got 3
Oh
hurl
my.
boulders. This is a ton of damage.
That's the best possible RNG right there, I think. He's going to stack the small camp as well. Very nice. And he's going to make sure to get out of the big camp. Nope, he pulled the ghost into the big camp, so he actually didn't block that one. He might have been interested, or he did block. He might have been interested in blocking it though against Mirana. I'm not sure. It benefits them both.
The Petinants, and here they come. 1, 2, 3, easy as pie. Misery taking a ton of damage.
I think he could have killed him actually if he just ran the golem into the tower, the big one. Got 2 new splits and then killed him with another stone.
God, that Penance damage too with the or damage amplification, I should say. It's real nice.
It's definitely the lane to watch for now. The other lanes are playing relatively even. Actually, Madara is winning mid against Lina.
Cancels the charge. I don't know if he knew that he was there, but now he's right behind him. This is potentially a big opening. The Nature's Prophet, I think, showed TPing for a second, but they canceled it.
Yeah, the Radiant do have a Rune Ward, so Madara knows that there's
Is
an
Misery
Immiscer.
dead?
Okay. Playing on the edge there. Yeah, Madara can't touch creeps right now. He knows Spirit Breaker's here. Now that he tries, he could die, actually.
Yeah, charge.
Oh, they misplayed it.
A little bit off the mark there, but he does have the body blocks, and looks like Madara is still likely to fall. Fairy Fire, they gave up on the kill, though, and now the salve comes out.
Oh,
Milan.
that's such a blunder. They just needed to charge and then Lina stun, but they cast both spells at the same time, so that little bit of overlap is enough for Madara to get back, use Fairy Fire and Mango, and then heal up. Or was it only a Fairy? I'm actually not sure. It might have only been a Fairy.
He did salve up also, so
Yes.
he's up at full. But yeah.
Damn, this Beastmaster's not feeling good. Morphling has 15 denies.
Oh my god. Milan chasing down this Witch Doctor. Doesn't manage to buy a bash. He's just saving him up for later. Yeah, Ritsu's having a very nice time for himself, but Kezu's still only about a level behind at this point, and that's been with Mirana around a little bit. And Misery is now back towards the lane.
The huge upside to what Spirit Breaker did, even though the kill failed, was that Madara had to stand back so far for so long that Bryle overtook the advantage in the lane. He got a lot of denies, and is now a bit of experience ahead against the Medusa, actually about half a level. And he's also getting a regen rune.
Ooh.
Oh man, Fortune favoring Bryle here.
Back a little bit quicker as well, and Madara not gonna like to see a full mana Lina running into him right at the start
He
here.
missed the arrow on the Cyclone Creep. Oh dear. Misery is definitely not destroying this Chen like he was hoping to do. Chen's level 3, Mirana's level 2, and Chen is continuing his jungle route here. So already now playing with 2 creeps, he actually has the ability to fight Misery and fend him off. And it's all about that golem camp first, man.
Yeah.
It made a big difference. Now Kitrak will probably lose a centaur here. Misery is on the money with the... Actually not even trying for the arrow. Just gonna leap away. Get a couple bounty runes, 2 for each.
And I think that Milan right now trying to get in range to go for a charge, but the Witch Doctor is in the area. They realize that this could be coming. Kitrak's still going behind enemy lines here.
Man, Beastmaster's so screwed. 28 for 28 CS.
Alright, Ritsu's having a time.
Like, what the? That's just Morphling for you. If you get ahead in the lane like this, Chen protected him and helped him in the start. The Mirana counterplay didn't work, and now Ritsu is... He's hitting for 108 damage, and Kezu would have 71 plus Quelling Blade. So actually, they're relatively close, and that just means Ritsu is just outplaying heavily in this lane.
Having a great old time for sure, and switching over, managing his
Kezu
health.
got 2 CS. He's so happy right now. Finally, 2 more. 3 more.
Oh,
And a deny.
look at him, he's on the board.
Yeah.
Said otherwise.
Milan charging up on Ember. Didn't get the rune though. The rune is top. It's a double damage.
Well, they're charging forward here down bottom, or rather top, and Kezu is going to go down. So he pays for his denies. And yeah, like you said, the rune going the other direction.
This is a really big lead for Wind and Rain. They're 2,000 gold up minute 6. And it's 1 kill and even bounty runes. So this is just lane farm, largely, that they're winning on.
I don't know if Misery has hit an arrow on a creep yet.
I haven't seen it. It's been pretty underwhelming so far.
Definitely. And the other thing that's so scary about this lineup from Wind and Rain is that they take a little advantage and turn it into a huge advantage. Although they do manage to find that there's still a lot of damage coming out, and Ritsu switching over, actually.
He was trying to become Mirana there with Morph. He would have had 1 leap. But didn't manage to catch her. She got fogged. But still, again, gets bullied away. Misery is not accomplishing much. Mid lane Bryle hitting into Madara here. This is another thing too, like you look at the raw gold advantage. I'm pretty sure Madara has had to buy a decent amount of regen. Like look at the mid lane. The CS is 39 to 34, but he's ahead by a whopping 800 gold on Lina over Medusa, and that is in a lane without a kill. So this is definitely a lot of regen being purchased by the Medusa. Now top, they roared the morph. They actually got him.
Oh,
they didn't roar, it was an arrow. He's not level 6 at all. I just saw a long stun. I was like, wow, wait, what? No, Kiss was level 4.
That is a huge boon. That's so much going back their direction. Like, the biggest thing is the experience gain.
That's a massive kill. That was a big, big arrow for Misery to hit there. And Ritsu was morphed into so much agility that they could actually burst him during the arrow with Beastmaster's physical damage output. Axes in a couple of hits with the aura. Got the job done.
At the same time, you still have to sort of worry about this matchup, although Madara found here in the mid lane. If they can manage to burst him down as Bryle has a DD, yeah, Madara is feeling very, very dead. They actually turn it instead onto the Witch Doctor rotating in Misery. Whew, almost gets stomped there as well. Meanwhile, by the bottom side, they managed to barely TP out. That's Beastmaster gain away.
Already. Phase double null. Bryle is really strong right now.
They get the D ward also. This Bryle DD rune is going to be able to lay into the tower. Misery able to find the stun.
Was he mid-animation on Laguna when he got his mana burned by Medusa?
He might have been.
Wow, that was so close.
But they do have the send back TP play.
Yeah, he's coming back to lane fully refilled. It's one of those things with Chen, right? It's like he has the strong lane, but it's those small things that he does that have such a big impact. It's like just that TP makes a really big difference.
Yeah.
Lina, who would have had to run back to base to refill, just immediately gets back to lane and doesn't lose any farm or take damage on her tower. And on the other side of the river, you have a Medusa who's almost lost hers. Minute 9.
Yeah.
Bottom lane. Still going to be fine on Forev. Good CS, by the way, on both heroes down here. 40 on the Furion, 45 on the Ember. So going pretty evenly. The big breadwinner is still this Morphling with 51 to 45. So it's not only that this experience doesn't go to the Radiant, it's all that extra experience he's getting from the denies.
Yeah.
It's actually helping him snowball quite a bit. He's level 8, the enemy
he gets arrowed again, though. They find him, and now the damage coming in, he's dead again.
It's like, it's one of those moments you look at this game and what's happening, and you feel like it's so greedy to play full Agimorph. He could have literally 6 less damage, just a little bit of strength, and he wouldn't die to these arrows. Or if he sees the arrow coming, he just needs to start morphing. But, you know, there's always the risk. Misery found the perfect angle there once again to catch him, and Ritsu with 2 absolutely avoidable deaths.
And the other thing, too, is I feel like this 10-minute mark, it might be time for them to really get going. I don't think it necessarily hurts them that much, but the bigger issue is that now the Radiant are getting the items that they need to, the levels that they need to be able to defend against the pressure with the siege creep coming in.
If they didn't get these 2 kills, I think Kesu would have been level 4.5. He's 6.5. It means this much, because he was in both kills, he was next to the Mirana, they got experience, and when the Morph is dead, Kesu got to go to the lane and get some experience too.
Milan cancels that charge right now. And that was one where they might have tried to go in for it with a Nature's Prophet TPN. But instead, it's going to be pressure down bottom. They do manage to hit the stun onto Kaiser, and a lot of damage thrown back his way.
This tower's falling.
Stun. They find him. The cask is still bouncing, but the tower is still falling, and we'll see if they stick around to try and deny it or not. That's a very low Witch Doctor. He manages to get the deny, but does pay for it. And now Kaiser, they find the stun follow-up there. The Remnant away, not going to happen.
He could have jaunted at any time there or activated his Fire Remnant, but I thought he was probably thinking Bryle wasn't going to even try for that stun. But you miss the shots you don't take. He takes one and it hit.
This is the moment right now. Misery looking for an arrow. And again, now that they have the level 6, he does get hit by it again, but he's up a little bit higher.
Ritsu has strength this time. He's learned his lesson. He actually sent back
just
the
in
morph.
case.
Tried for the waveform to stay. It doesn't work.
Meanwhile, though, in the jungle, Madara going to be found. They almost get the kill here. He's very freaking low. They don't quite take him down, though. 63 HP for Rev. Ends up throwing out the Sprout. Now the walk away. The charge out of Kaiser. They're turning this one. Can they fully turn it back around? I don't think so. As the Moonlight Shadow comes out, and Misery there for the cleanup.
He
almost dies. In fact, with Milan, going to TP out. They find him. Arrow connects, as well as the cask. Now the rest of the heroes rotating in, though. They do have Morphling here. Ritsu shows up, pops the Flame Guard as well. They turn this back around and take down the Ember. Now the waveform forward in 3 seconds, 2, 1. That's a Witch Doctor also looking like he might be done. So they have the extra damage in from the Flame Guard stolen, and a triple kill for Ritsu. 12 minutes in.
Remember when I said 2 kills?
Yeah.
I meant 3 kills for the Dire. Sorry, I didn't make that very clear. That was really good timing for Ritsu to show up. And he turned into the perfect hero too, becoming the Ember there. So he had the Flame Guard like you said, and I think he got a chain off as well, maybe?
I believe so.
I do think he did.
Well, they send back the Lina. She's going to probably TP back towards the mid lane again if she wants to. And with both of the, or with the tier 2 tower down bottom and the top one very low HP, feels like they can maybe try and finish these off and continue to build their lead.
Damn. It's so funny for me to see this now with how much I talked about the Chen versus Mirana and how it went in the complexity game against VGJ Storm. And I was like, he was level 5, minute 15. Kitrak's level 4, minute 13. And Misery's level 7. But it's not because he countered the Chen. It's actually because Ritsu ate 2 arrows to the face.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's pretty funny that it went that way. But Kitrak needs to eventually catch up and get some levels here.
Kaiser taking the long walk back along the bottom side as Spearbreaker was charging in, and now they set their sights mid.
Oh, that arrow top!
Did they find him?
That was I don't know, less than a 1/10 of a second away from Forev's face, but he got out.
Meanwhile, the Ember jumps in. The charge. I think that kept somebody alive there as the stomp hits, and now this follow-up light strike right. Kaiser barely able to get away from that one. They do hit the roar now onto Lina, but Bryle's still living, and they bring 5 heroes mid. Gonna take this tower. That was so close. But Misery, the next one that's gonna be targeted, he knows Spearbreaker's coming. Or does he?
Doesn't seem very much like it. Leap, number 1. There's a Sprout.
I mean, Milan charged through everything. Well, nonetheless, 14 minutes in, 4,000 net worth lead.
Yep. That Morphling, by the way, was able to connect on Medusa because of his talent choice. This is a talent we never saw picked up until, I think the first player I saw take it recently was GGG in the Chinese qualifier, who took it more or less every time, I think. But 10 agility is a lot to pass up on. It's a lot of stats. It's a very strong talent as well. The waveform range, however, does give you some interesting possibilities as far as crossing terrain, being able to connect with fights, and just being safer overall as well for disengaging. 350 distance is a lot in Dota. When you think about what an Aether Lens gives you, it's more than that on the cast range. So it's a nice talent. Sure.
And I think it speaks to the way that they want to play this game. It's sort of a little bit strange to me that they're taking that with the Lincoln Sphere. Also, I felt like, as you're talking about, the Dragonlance build might have been something a little bit stronger to get involved early. But Ritsu has been getting involved nonetheless and making a lot of plays happen. This is more the newer style of Morphling that we've been seeing.
And one of the clearly great benefits of the Lincolns this game is that he's playing against Beastmaster Roar.
Right.
So he definitely will have a solution to that. I mean, if he's doing this well, it's okay. He could definitely not have died this game and been even richer, but their early game is still going according to plan for them, so should be fine in the end. Saksa.
Oh,
just barely got him with a golem stun there.
that was really close. The Yule's the creep, actually, when they were going for the Light Strike Ray combo. Milan, scouted top lane. Might need to go for a charge away here, and he does manage to get out. The charge hits through onto 2, and now turning it back around, they find themselves Misery. He's done. Kezu trying to finish off this tower, but he might just put it into deny range, while bottom lane, they're able to take their own tower.
He's dead too.
How do you like these axes, Kezu? Chase forward, and he is gone as well. Ritsu making things happen. Mid lane, they just keep running at him. Madara also dead.
Okay, this is like, this is just a different world from game 1. This is where in game 1 the game was close, but this time around Wind and Rain are just dominating them across the lanes. They actually won all 3 lanes. 2 of them they won really hard. The top lane was a massive win for Morphling. If he hadn't thrown his life away, he would have been absolutely crushing, but this is still crushing, so we're okay. And the bottom lane, you know, Ember was farming, but it still felt like Spirit Breaker and Nature's Prophet got so much value out of the lane. Like, they got great levels on both of them. We're seeing a lot of denies on the Nature's Prophet, 17 denies to the 5 of Ember, so level advantage in the lane for them. And just relative to how the lanes could have gone, they just did a great job across the board. And if you're BlinkPool now, you've got to start looking for fights, I think. You can't just be content with the state of the game. Orchid reveal here from Forev. That will be a kill on Misery. Maybe not, actually.
Oh, they don't quite have enough.
Oh, he used the Nature's Wrath a bit too late. Maybe he didn't have it.
Earn at 43 HP there. Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. And also Milan ended up charging the creep wave and just hit the last creep was alive before he was able to hit onto Misery.
Yeah, all bottom
Ember
lane, Kaiser.
Wow, okay.
Bryle is so farmed.
Yeah.
Like, it's 17 minutes in. He has Phase, Shadowblade, Yule's Bottle, Double Null, and another 1,000 gold on top. He's 3,500 gold ahead of the Medusa, who has about the same CS as him.
And I think when you take these types of heroes like Spirit Breaker, Nature's Prophet, it's just anywhere on the map that you are with one other hero, you can find a kill. And I think it speaks to the way that Wind and Rain just wanted to play a different style of Dota than we saw in game number 1, and they're making it happen.
Yep,
Very
absolutely.
impressive.
Oh, Bryle is on the hunt again.
Nature's Prophet comes in with the Orchid in a second. They're also charging with Spirit Breaker as they look for their opening. Kaiser's there as well. They end up hitting the Orchid onto the Ember.
Oh,
but
he walked
the
back
arrow.
into it.
Okay.
Still charged. He will die.
And Kaiser, is he really trying to turn this back around now? Light Strike Array a little bit off the mark, and Madara comes in as well. There's a lot of damage onto the Dire Heroes. Have they finally dove too far? Bryle is going to go down. They move in with Ritsu as well. He takes over the Medusa. The Roar comes out now onto the Spiritbreaker Kiptrack. Tries to send one back, but it is still going to be death as he gets brought down. Ritsu waveforms out of there and TPs away. Disaster in the bottom lane.
What a long death ward. That was a full duration from Soxa, and it was hitting heroes the whole time. He just ran into it and kept tanking that death ward. And yep, nice play there from the Radiant to show up at the right time. It looked like it was going to be a great play from Wind and Rain getting the quick pick, but the Light Strike Array on Ember was just a millimeter off. And that's about an inch. It's a it's a lot less. It's a lot less than an inch. It's a very little inch.
A little tiny inch.
Yep.
I need the help. I'm not too good on the old non-freedom units. So 19 minutes. It's down to now just a 5,000.
That was a big swing.
Net worth lead.
And a lot of the gold went down Medusa's pocket.
I feel like Medusa might not be the hero to target with the morph in these fights as far as like just raw damage output.
Yeah, what options did he have? He could get the Ember. I think.
Yeah.
That could have been a difference there, for sure. Level 4 chains currently on the Ember, slight level 1.
I guess I understand the desire just to go right in and take whoever you can because it is a pretty good value, but
I would agree. The Medusa steal is pretty bad, actually. I think the Mana Shield doesn't carry over when you switch back to Morphling, and you don't carry over the Split Shot either, so all you're really getting is the Mystic Snake.
yeah.
And while that is a good spell, it's probably not as good as Ember's entire spell kit. Especially considering the Flame Guard does carry over.
Right.
So, Hand of God.
Okay.
Was that a misclick?
I think so.
What's he healing? Yeah, that was a misclick. Oops.
I'm not sure what the heck that
Maybe
was.
Bryle was just celebrating. He finally, or Kiptrack was celebrating. He finally got level 6 minute 20. Dude, that has been really, really struggling on that Chen. After the great start he actually had with the golems, he has not been able to find what he needed. But they're still at a great position in the game. If Dire play this well, they barely need the Chen
Yeah.
to do much anymore.
The
But
Penitence is pretty nice little, like
One
it's
or
a cherry on
two.
top.
one or two more mistakes like that last one, and Radiant are in a comfortable position once again. And it's interesting what just happened, because I feel like it's a combination of the absolute best and the absolute worst part of this Wind and Rain team. We've seen games where their laning is just exceptional. Like, they do so well in lanes, they crush them, but at the same time they have these moments in the mid-game where sometimes they drop the ball a little bit. And I said earlier in this qualifier that I had high hopes for Wind and Rain to be the team that could maybe take OG to like challenge them because of how they can win the lanes like this. But you've got to make sure you don't make these mistakes in the mid-game. And they're stabilizing again. This will be a Roshan for them. Goes the way of the Lina, not the Morphling, interestingly.
Misery does have, he was casting the Moonlight Shadow, but canceled
Oh, he's going to be
actually.
spotted now by the Morph. Uh-oh.
Leap away! Hello, Kiptrack, how are you? See you next time. Or will we? Oh, there's the Yule Scepter.
Perfectly
even.
timed LSA, or rather Dragon Slave.
She's actually going to be going for a Lincoln's also. So double Lincoln's, it looks like. Morphling already finishing off the Ghost Scepter and is getting close to the E-Blade. That is another moment when things get very scary as they jump forward. Going to take over the Ember? No. Hasn't used Morph yet. Instead decides to take over the Witch Doctor, it looks like. Kezu's still here. If he wants to, they could think about going for a roar play if somebody else is able
It's
to
5
break
seconds
it.
to do it.
But no.
It's back again, the Lincolns. Nice cask.
Got him.
Got one hit on the wolf. Maledict is a kind of nifty steal, though,
Yeah.
for Morphling.
With E-Blade?
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's a great spell to steal against Medusa, actually. Could be interesting to see if he manages to grab that later on.
We haven't talked much about Medusa this game. It's kind of just this hero that's been in the background, as bottom lane actually might need to watch for a kill. But currently just sitting on Hurricane Pike, Mask of Madness, getting towards the Scotty. How scary does this hero get as the game goes on, considering what Wind and Rain have?
They have some decent solutions because they have artillery, with both Morphling and Lina being able to deal a lot of damage from distance. I think they have tools to overcome a late game Medusa. It's still a pretty good Medusa game, but considering how the lanes went and the fact that Lina should be playing from still a decent amount ahead together with the Morph, it's gotta have to go really late before Medusa gets tanky enough, and even then, Lina, again, like this high attack range, high damage output, he will be going for an item build that deals damage, for sure.
Yeah.
He went the Shadow Blade, so now after the Lincolns, he's actually planning a BKB. I would imagine we'll see something like Daedalus or Bloodthorn later in order to kill them off. Top lane for Revis Invis. Has the Orchid.
Kaiser is there, they get him, and there's the Yule Scepter immediately. Follow-up not going to be there.
No, it's just scaring him off to push the wave.
Madara does need to be a little bit wary, but I guess he's still Medusa underneath his tower, and does have the Hurricane Pike as well. Misery just trying to farm up for the moment. Not a whole lot that they can do, as the E-Blade is done on Ritsu. He's getting close to that level 20 talent as well. Any value in Morph for allies? I guess the Nature's Prophet, you could like set up double ganks. I don't know if that's that great.
Teleport is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of like the charge, too.
Yeah? If you can't like persist into your form afterwards, but
Yeah, I think he's going to take the waveform talent. I don't think there's anything that stands out enough for him to target allies. The teleport is cool, though, man. Not going to lie. He might take it for that.
Yeah.
What a ganking combo that is, man. That's insane.
With Spirit Breaker too?
That's
you just
insane.
charge anybody.
Now I just want to see it, actually. I just
Yeah.
want to see him take that. That's a great idea.
Oh, Wave Force forms through everything though, and God, Ritsu is just very, very farmed. It does kind of feel like they're slowing down a little bit though. The pace of the game is definitely steadied a little bit, and would love to see with this Aegis, do you think that they need to try and make things happen, or are they just comfortable as the game goes on?
They could maybe try to find a fight.
Yeah.
I don't think you just go and start knocking on high ground right now. It's not that easy.
Right.
At the same time, they're controlling the map nicely. They should be getting more overall gold out of it than the Radiant.
He took the waveform attacks targets.
Lincoln's Beastmaster. He wants to be able to break the Yules himself. It's a cheaper version of Halberd. I don't know how much I like it here. Give some move speed, that's nice.
Bryle, mid lane, level 20. So he's got that little damage amplification with his talent. As the tier 2 tower is going to start to fall, the Mystic Snake doesn't bounce to the creeps nor Bryle, and this should be a dead tower as waveforms in, just goes immediately. Ritsu testing the strength of
He took the
BlinkPool.
waveform attack. Damn it.
And that was also Forev who goes down, rather takes down Misery.
I got it with the Wrath. Oh, he found Kaiser. They're charging him too. This
He
could
does
get
have a
awkward.
remnant out. Oh, right
yeah, but
away.
that's gonna follow him. He knows he's charged.
Okay.
Man, this is getting a bit crazy here, guys.
That camera work is going to be put to the
we gotta
test.
stop that charge.
And the Ember definitely in the dumpster right now in terms of the farm. You take a look at this, still trying to build towards that Maelstrom, and, well, they just blow up one. In the meantime, Kezu able to walk away from Milan here. They decide to roar him, and
He's
that
too
is that.
tanky. Oh, he got arrowed too. Well, he was stunned for 10 seconds, but didn't take damage.
Now the push is coming. They're ready to knock on high ground. They do still have Morph available if they want to use it to throw it from the Ember, and Ritsu hitting away at these buildings. It is incredibly fast. The arrow does connect there, but now the jump back forward as they find the stomp. After the ulti coming in from the Spear Breaker, chains onto 2 as well. Can they take these heroes down though? Misery down to low HP. Ritsu still hasn't morphed yet. He has decided to take over this Medusa down to low HP. He turns around again, needs to wait for him out, but he's rooted. Switching over to Strength from the arrow hits after the fact. They don't have anything to keep him alive, and Ritsu goes down.
That was a complete disconnect in that fight from the Dire. They were not on the same page at all. They open up with the Nether Strike on Medusa, they charge her, they Orchid her, they stun her with Lina, and Morphling is hitting someone else. Like, he was actually going on the backline. If that was the plan there, it's just a mistake. Like, either you kill the Medusa or you don't. You don't throw 6 spells on her and then not commit. Like,
Yeah.
it's just wasted time and spells. And even though they have a big advantage, if you take the fight like that, it's going to go wrong. Ritsu took the easy kill on, I believe, Saksa. No, actually, Brawl ended up killing him later. That is not the way to go about this, and a bit of a throwaway fight there from the Dire, giving BlinkPool back about 3k gold. Saksa did buy back though, so that was a dieback from the Witch Doctor, but that's a relatively low price to pay for what they gained.
Very unfortunate timing there, and again, no Aegis at this point. Roche gonna be possible to respond in about a minute.
Arrow, ooh, almost connecting on Chen mid. And now back the other way. Madara will hit the mid tier 1.
Kazu,
Charged.
they're gonna see that with the bird. Hawk is out. He gets roared yet again. The chase forward. The Light Strike Ray a little bit off the mark and rooted again. Spear Breaker is dead.
Oh, they might have also got the Yules on Chen or on Beastmaster to cancel Chen sent back.
Oh yeah.
Could be part of the reason as well.
Still an 8,000 gold lead, but BlinkPool is making a comeback right now. Nature's Prophet trying to go for the Nullifier. If you're BlinkPool in this situation, how do you think about the next couple of minutes of this game? What's your goal here?
Your goal is to set up to be ready to protect Roshan. It's actually spawning now. It's going to be the most important aspect now. If there's another Aegis going the way of Wind and Rain, I think this next hold gets really difficult. There will be a Morphling with BKB and Aegis. I think this time around you give the Aegis to the Morphling and not the Lina. Give the Lina a cheese. Lina's HP pool is now so big that she really benefits from the cheese, and she has BKB Lincolns. You really shouldn't be dying first. And if she gets targeted, obviously Morphling having a free fight isn't half bad either.
Absolutely.
Bottom lane Kezu again.
Oh, he
he's
thinks
got
it's just the
great
Lina. He doesn't know about
Oh,
Forev
wow.
here.
That stun almost clipped him. I think Kezu would have been scared. That
Oh, what? Hey, hello?
He saw him.
Hello?
They dusted. They missed everything.
Oh, God. All right, time to run away. Get the
Abort.
hell out of here. Misery's still chasing. Nah, he's not going to get him.
That was awkward.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Milan is going to call off the charge there as well. Now, there's still about, what is that, a minute and a half till Roche. But the teams do not know that. BKB just now completed for the Morphling. So he's gone Lincoln's BKB with the E-Blade. Still feeling like he's got a relatively free game to do what he wants as long as he is not rooted there. And, well, the charge coming through. They're going to cancel it yet again. They do run into Kezu here. Another roar. Feels like the story of this game so far, but the turnaround is going to be there. Ryle says, get off my teammate. Even though Spearbreaker will eventually die, they get a return kill.
They forced the whole team to come there. That's going to be their top tower lost. They could actually Roche off this, the Dire, if it were up.
Yeah.
Sorry, right. It wasn't up. If that was up right now, they would be getting it for sure. They're going to scout it, I think. No, not yet.
Maybe send in these trees.
I'm not sure what the minimum spawn time was. It might not be up yet. Didn't time it myself.
It says it down here. So that when this timer started, that was when it was the minimum spawn time. So this is a relatively middle of the road, I want to say. 11 to 20, 9,000 gold lead. And 31 minutes in, Madara starting to become a little bit more of a force. Has the Hurricane Pike, the Manta, and getting close to that Scotty.
He still doesn't have a damage item, so it takes them a long time to kill heroes. Almost no matter which of the cores they go on, it will take a while. This is a long build-up for Medusa when you go these items. When you go Manta, Pike, and Scotty, you're extremely tanky, but you also, relative to your net worth, your damage output is not that great, and it's a split damage carry.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of carry that doesn't really kill Morphling. That's why I kind of like this matchup with the Morphling into Medusa, because if Ritsu doesn't massively overstep his boundary, the Medusa is not a threat. He needs to kill the other heroes, or commit with his team on Medusa if that's what they're doing. Kezu gets charged, he has Gem. This would be a big grab. Are they just going to run through? No, they're not. Both teams know Roche is up.
Witch Doctor was nearby as well, and Madara buys the first component of his Lincolns. We also have an Aeon Disc just now completed for Kaiser. That does mean he has no buyback in this next round of fights that's going to be coming out. And as you said, the Hawk goes through. They're looking for the roar as he's charging through. Again, the Spirit Breaker is going to be roared. Milan, Yule Scepter. That's an offensive one, and they will find him. Meanwhile, Bryle, Light Strike Array a little bit off the mark. They still find Kezu. He's taking a lot of damage there. The Mute, the kill, it comes out.
Just look how long it took them to kill that beast. They didn't even kill him.
Yeah, the Spirit Breaker lives.
Look how long it took them to try to kill this Spirit Breaker. Like, Medusa is just not dealing damage. They roar, they run over, they connect. The team just weren't close enough to Kezu either. That's the other thing. Like, he catches the Spirit Breaker, but the majority of the roar gets spent running there. Then they Yule him, then they arrow. It takes so long, and that's a really big loss for the Radiant. This was the most important aspect of this game right now, was getting this Roshan control, and they kind of just lost it trying to kill a support.
Ferev does have the Aeon Disc.
He's going to
proc
proc
it.
it.
They're going to proc it
Nice
right away.
play by Ferev.
Oh my
Wow.
god. Yule Scepter comes out, though. He's still living for the moment. Gets out.
Oh, he almost deserved that kill. It was so well executed. He knew that the Ember was low enough that one hit was going to proc Disc, and then he instant Orchid nullified after the Disc procced. So he actually had the chance to kill him. This is the only possible way for him to get this kill. And with just a little extra damage, he would have got the job done. So that was a great attempt, but Kaiser just a bit too tanky there, and does, fortunately for himself, of course, have a defensive remnant in place. And does get out. And what do you do now if you're Radiant? You gotta just wait, I think. Like, fighting outside your base right now is probably game losing. So, full on turtle mode for the next 5 minutes against this Aegis of Morphling.
And there is not a whole lot that you need to be pressing for if you're the Dire team. If they want to, they can keep on trying to farm up, or they can just go for a quick play inside the base. Smoke up. Misery is out relatively far. It's not the easiest kills in the world to get when they know the entire team is going to be right behind, but they do smoke up now. Maybe anticipating that people will be spread out. Kitrak does not break the smoke. Although, as they head back towards the mid again, they're just pressuring towards high ground here. Nobody else is home. That smoke does not do anything. Where's the rest of the team?
Well, that cost them half their tower and the glyph. They might get Ferev for it, though. That was the plan here. He has a gem. Kezu not committing, though. They feel like they have to go back to base. Kezu and Saksa are missing in their base now. They're just going to start going in.
The building is down. He can walk away at this point if they want to. They don't know he need to fully commit, but the Mute is going to be there as well. They find themselves the Medusa. She is starting to die. The pendant's down. She's done. No buyback. And now you're in a hell of a lot of trouble as they pock the Aeon Disc for Kaiser, but no Aeon Discs for buildings. Ritsu turning onto it now. This first lane of barracks is gone.
Yeah, they're going to keep pressing their advantage. They want to force this Medusa buyback, but it doesn't exist. And they might have guessed that based on the Skadi purchase. Close call. Ritsu still has Aegis, so he has a bit of a safety net this time.
Still a lot of damage. They buy back on the Witch Doctor, and now the second lane of barracks as Ritsu is going to be sent home. But Bryle more than enough with the Treants to finish off this barracks. It's 11 HP. Are you kidding me?
There were two siege creeps that just stopped hitting, and the Treant stopped
look,
hitting.
Here it is. This is the play. Send one in.
Go forward.
Go, Cardi. No, they need another second. All right, they go for it. Ritsu just blows up the Witch Doctor, and Subed Zusea in the face.
That was like the worst pronunciation I've ever heard of that.
Thank you very much.
Subed Zusea?
You got to be the best at something, even if it's being the worst, as the arrow is going to connect onto the Hawk. The turnaround, what was that?
Chen stole the Hawk?
Kitrak with the next level play, and now Bryle looking for the Light Strike Array is not going to be able to hit it.
Oh, they got that guy. And that guy. And the game.
This should just be it. And yeah, as you said, game going the way of Wind and Rain, it looks like, as there's a buyback on the Ember, but this one is looking done. 1-1. How you feeling about this one?
What a boss performance from Bryle this game. It looks so comfortable in Lina. This is perhaps, it's one of the best Lina performances we've seen across all qualifiers. And I think I saw him played in one other game, and he went 10-0 as well.
Yeah.
Like he definitely knows how to play his Lina. I would definitely... If I were to pick an MVP in this game, it's Bryle for me. He played super well in lane. He made a lot of great moves that got key kills. He only had that one mistake bottom where he died together with Forev. Apart from that, completely clean game. Yeah, good game from windandReN. I think the BlinkPool draft, I get the logic behind what they want to do with Ember making moves for Medusa, but they just didn't really seem to find the moves that they needed.
Yeah.
The Dire were one step ahead. They got better out of the laning stage. And despite Ritsu, I know I've said it a lot of times, man, but come on, like those 2 deaths.
Yeah, that was rough.
If those deaths don't happen, this game might have actually been over like 5 or 10 minutes ago. That's how much it means. Because Beastmaster would have just... Kezo did not have a game. Like, he was totally dumpstered in this one. But, you know, they came back a little bit. It still wasn't enough. They needed even more than what they got. So, good game overall from windandReN. We were a bit skeptical maybe about the Chen plus Spirit Breaker. It seemed to work.
I think they kind of made it work because they last picked Dusa, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you see the hero matchup and you have an opportunity to counterpick the enemy mid, and you just actively don't counterpick the enemy mid when you have heroes that you know are going to be pressuring your side lanes. And probably one of the only heroes during this patch right now that can transition from one lane to another relatively smoothly and not feel it. And that's SB. So then you pick a matchup and you say, okay, well, if this hero gets behind, it's really hard for me to show on the map. And we know how bad that is in this patch when you can't show on the map as a core hero and push waves. It just starts to feel, it just doesn't feel very good to me.
I mean, that laning phase was ridiculous at the beginning. I mean, the Lina had a great time. They killed the Morph lane twice, but he had like 30 or 40 denies at like the first few stages of the game. It's like insane.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do against that? I mean, you could kill him twice, but they only took like 1 or 2 good fights. They had that fight bottom with the full death ward. They needed a full death ward in order to actually turn that fight around too. But then you just get Roche for the Dire team. They tried that first side ground push. That didn't work out. They tried again. Boom. Done.
Well, and I think about that golem spawn too, and the fact that
yeah.
Chen got that, and like how badly they just destroyed the
triple
Mirana.
shard toss, penitence. He almost killed him with the first creep spawn, which was insane.
It was the best possible creep.
There's nothing better to get than that. So, I bet that's how these jungler matchups sometimes go. The RNG definitely plays a role. We talked about it plenty of times with Doom and the big Satyr when you go to lane and stuff. So, yeah, it definitely mattered in that game that Chen got that. Perhaps this is a limitation thing. Like maybe BlinkPool were like, TA is great here, but if Draskyl is right and Madara doesn't play the Ember, then if Kaiser is their TA player, which I think when they've picked TA in the past, Kaiser's been playing TA, what do you do? Like, then you actually have a hero just have a hero player limitation. If Madara doesn't feel comfortable picking up the Ember there, it doesn't work. I think TA would have been great too.
What other heroes can you pick in that matchup against Lina that would fit a position 1?
Nobody. There's nothing.
Think it's actually just the Dusa and then the...
Yeah. I actually don't think there was a better pick than TA, and second best was probably Medusa. I don't even think a hero like Laundry does well against a good Lina player. They're probably going to break even, and I definitely don't think Madara would want to play the lone in this game.
How about Quap? Is that
it's a losing matchup?
It's a losing matchup.
Yeah, it's a losing matchup, and there's an SP.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's definitely not
the whole premise of why TA is so good there is because it's so good against single instances of damage, which Lina does in the early game to harass, and then the SP charges in, also single hits. So your refraction basically negates all of the pressure that would come out from not only just each hero individually, but even if they gank you, you don't really have to worry about it that much as long as you're responsible about when you pop your refractions. So.
I mean, this begs the question then. I think they banned it in the first game. Do you ban the Lina maybe next game, depending? I mean, because Bryle's had 2 really good performances so far in this tournament with that hero.
It was a last pick. It's obviously a good hero for him, but I think he was set up in a very good game on a hero that he was comfortable on.
Absolutely.
And anyone's going to do that.
It was a great Lina game.
I think the saddest thing about that game is we didn't get to see the double global teleports by Ritsu.
Yes, I wanted that so bad. That would have been great. But the waveform talent is great. It allows you to, when you have a little bit of extra farm compared to when you get the talent, or if you're having a great game, you actually one-shot creep waves because of the waveform plus 1 attack per creep.
Got it.
It helps a lot with efficiency. It deals more damage in fights. It's a good talent.
Okay.
So,
well,
Kitrak's going to feel happy, I think.
Yeah.
He was level 4, minute 13. He was level
he's
6,
still in
minute
the
20,
game.
man.
But you know what's crazy about that? He still only died once
Yep.
in that game. Like, I think that a lot of other Chens would have just fed, but he played it really, really well. Some solid sendbacks, too, just him being there and being able to continue to enable the Lina. Definitely some good stuff. And we'll see what happens. Game number 3 is right around the corner, ladies and gents. This is going to be the first one of the EU region, looking a little bit more competitive here. So stay tuned. windandReN facing off against BlinkPool after this.